why it's about cash flow. Like, so let me put it this way. You ever hear from your accountant and he's like, listen, you had a great year, profitable year. You made $126,000 last year. And you're like, okay, great. Show me the money. Like, it's not in my bank account. Like, what are you talking about? It doesn't make any sense. That's cash flow, right?
Are you tired of working more for less profits in your home service business? What if I could show you $100,000 in hidden annual profits in your business in less than 3 minutes? Would you be interested? And not only show you where, but how to create that 100K in 6 months or less without additional advertising or marketing spend guaranteed. Just go to sharpenthespearcoaching.com to see how truly simple it is. That's sharpenthespearcoaching.com. Do it now. And we are back on STS, Sharpen the Spear podcast, with another incredible guest. I've got Connor Tyson with us today, and no one knows Connor better than Connor. So Connor, as we always do on STS, give us some backstory, bring us up to speed, and I can't wait to get into this conversation.
All right, Richard. So thanks for having me on. Yeah, a little bit about myself. Born and raised and still living in New York. I was a financial advisor for 25 years, degree in finance, married 2 kids, and I became a full-time financial wellness coach. Deal with small business owners, individuals, looking to stop the internal tug of war with their personal finances, right?
Yeah, I love it. I love it. So big thing, a lot of our listeners are small business owners, right? Service trades, home services, things like that, and we're an interesting group. Okay. A lot of skill, a little bit of business sense. And this is not being derogatory because I spent 20 years not knowing what the heck I was doing, just making money. I thought I had it all figured out till 2008. And then no longer did I have anything figured out, except that I did know what I was doing. So this is why I want to bring guests on like you, Connor, because you kind of lift the veil, if you will, right? And get down to, and I love the personal finance side. We're going to talk on that because what I also learned is, like, some say, well, my business finances are real good. My personal are kind of bad. And I get it. There's different dynamics, right? But usually there's a correlation.
Yeah, there's definitely a correlation. I mean, we can go there for a second. So it's like when you start a business, right? You're passionate about some idea, product, or service, right? Now it's like, go run a business. They don't teach this stuff in schools, nor do they teach you about personal finance. And what I found is I'm either coaching somebody on the individual side, find out they have a small business, or it's a small business client, and then I realize there's the hole in the boat. And the hole in the boat is if you don't have your personal finances, a process, let's just say, you're constantly trying to fill the hole, right? And it's like you're chasing revenue and clients and trying to, how much do I need to pay myself? And it's a constant struggle. So I usually bridge those two pretty well.
Yeah. And that being said, that is what I've seen working with countless clients, right? Same thing. So, and it matters. And the struggle is, and you've probably dealt with it more than me, man, that is the whole money thing is, it destroys marriages. It ruins businesses. Okay. It's the elephant in the room, right? I think it really, right?
It's a very emotional charged topic because people don't stop and think about what money is and what it does and why. It's really just time and labor, right? So it's like, I mow your lawn for 2 hours. You pay me $100. That $100 you give me represents 2 hours of my time where you could go spend it with your kids. You could go learn a new skill, whatever you want, and then the sweat off my own brow, right? And it's like that money represents, I can do whatever I want to do with that $100, right? I can spend it on my kids. I could put it back into my business, which the reason I put it back into my business is because I see the business as a vehicle to get to my goals and dreams of what it is I ultimately want, right? So yeah, it's a very emotional thing in that it's a vehicle to basically get where it is that you want to go.
Yeah, I think if more people had that understanding of the vehicle of a tool, it's a tool, because people get these emotional attachments. I get it. It's also security, number one human core need, security, right? So they feel emotion.
Yeah.
It is, right? So you got to, here we go. So I need that for this. And you know what? I always tell people, well, you need to do a lot with nothing. Then you'll have a greater appreciation for your money. Like you have to be resourceful and not have resources. Like you start to be resourceful, you'll find out you don't need it per se as much for security. You need it for that tool to get to those new places, better places that you want to be.
It opens up doors.
Yes,
it opens up opportunities. It makes things possible, right? So I always say, if you have money, it just gives you freedom and choice.
Yes.
And if you don't have money, or the lack thereof it, you don't have much freedom and you don't have much choice. You're stuck in the dead end job. You're constantly chasing, right? You're shifting things around, and there's not much freedom to that, right? So that's why there's so much emotion behind money.
Yeah, and I think on the business side too, I wrote a book called Escape the Owner Prison, because you're in that prison doing all this stuff, and you're not profiting the way you could. And this is just because you don't know, but that lack of profit and understanding of how to generate it is keeping you trapped in that business. Okay.
Well, yeah. I mean, the other thing is like the habits and behavior. So we'll go into this real quick. So profit's all well and good. It's the reason why you're in business, right? If you're not making a profit, it's a hobby. You've heard all this, but profit. I've known profitable businesses to go out of business. Why? It's about cash flow. Like, so let me put it this way. You ever hear from your accountant and he's like, listen, you had a great year, profitable year. You made $126,000 last year. And you're like, okay, great. Show me the money. Like, it's not in my bank account. Like, what are you talking about? It doesn't make any sense. That's cash flow, right? And I know profitable businesses that don't have the money to make payroll. Like, that's cash flow, right? So profit's all well and good, but it's all about I call it the bloodline of the business, the blood flow. Like, if you don't have a process in place, and you can relate that also to your personal side, right? If you don't have a process that helps you be proactive versus reactive, right? Tell your money where to go versus wondering where it went. You're constantly going to be on conflict with those around you, telling yourself no, not being able to do the projects you want, the family vacations you want. That's a symptom on both sides of it, business and also personal.
Yeah, a lot of times I talk about Parkinson's law, right? If your money doesn't have a specific place to go, when you get it, it will evaporate. Okay. It's just, and it would be all the things we just talked about, It's just, I always tell people, I come and give you $100. I go, Connor, you're a good dude, man. Here's $100 just for being a good dude. Put it in your pocket. You go out to lunch, take your kids out, whatever, you're chatting, doing this. And 3 days later, you're like, didn't I have 100? Didn't I have $100?
Yeah.
It's just, and you have no, whatever. Okay. It's another reason, little side trail. I tell all my clients, you never pay for referrals, meaning you don't reward them with money. Don't give someone $200 because they gave you a referral for a job. Give them a gift.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Give them a gift, an experience right here. Dinner for two, blah, blah, all the whole thing, right? Because that's what they're going to remember. They're not going to remember $200, and it doesn't mean anything to me because real quick, it's just there's a risk factor, right? Their name's at risk. Okay. Because they're going to refer you to their friend down the street. Okay. If you go there and you do a bad job, okay, the guy doesn't like you because you're a crappy contractor. But your friend who referred you, they ain't ever coming over for dinner again. You sent this clown to my house. He wrecked the place. So I'm like, you got to understand, like, you're trying to buy this for $200.
One of the best gifts I ever received, you're talking about dinner and all this, is a cutting board branded with not you, because like most people give gifts that it's like you're a walking billboard for the company. I hate that.
No. Yep.
You get a cutting board, a nice cutting board, and put their family crest on it with the date. And that cutting board comes out at very important dates, Thanksgiving, Easter, whatever it is, and without being there, you're there. And someone's like, that's a great cutting board. Where'd you get that from? A little tip for, those about referrals or saying like how to thank that business owner.
Yeah, one of my clients is a custom woodworker. I mean, he does vanities, all stuff. I said, I'm start doing that. Where's the cutting boards, brother? Why don't you have any cutting boards here, man? You do 1.5 inch wood on everything. Oh, no plywood. It's unbelievable.
Beautiful.
Dude, give me a
Walmart.
matching
Yeah.
cutting board, man. Give me the soap dish. Give me something like, and then do exactly what you're saying. Put their name on
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
their
Yeah.
date.
It's about them.
Yeah, man, I love it. I mean, it's that's a whole nother. I've done whole shows on that, so that's great.
Yeah, we can go a lot of
But
places.
but it's really understanding it. It does tie really well into just how you utilize money,
Yeah.
right? So let's talk about that because I think, and you already explained a few. They're profitable. They can't meet payroll. Okay,
Yeah.
because as I like to say, cash has a last name. It's called flow. Okay. Cash flow. That's the name. It needs to keep going, right? It needs to keep coming to be utilized properly. So let's kind of get into that because I think I'll use the only word I can think of, misappropriation of funds. Okay. We do it to ourselves as entrepreneurs quite often because again, we don't have a plan.
Yeah. So what I usually do is I start with define your business, right? And you want to really start with the end in mind of where is it? What's your North Star? Where is this whole thing going? What is it you don't want to be? What are your strengths and weaknesses, right? So we go through just the overall 27 hats you wear as a small business owner, right? Marketing, technology, legal, blah, blah. You go through it all and you see where you stand, 1 to 10, right? You're either a rock star or you completely are like, yeah, that's not me. Find out what to delegate, right? Because you can only do so many things. You can learn the skill yourself, but that's again time, right? But now it's like, okay, as this revenue comes in, where should it be deployed? What are the priorities, right? Needs and wants. You got to keep the doors open, your operating expenses. Sure, check the box on that. Uncle Sam's got to be paid. Yes, check the box on that. Now what? Now, what's the next rung on this whole thing? Maybe it's a search engine optimization. Maybe it's a marketing campaign. Maybe it's, I don't know, equipment, right? Inventory, who knows? But that way you know ahead of time what it is that you're working on this month, this payroll, this quarter. And yeah, you might not have all the cash right now, but you can save towards it. You have an idea like, okay, this is going to be a $1,200 expenditure. Okay. $600 over the next 2 months. Voila, $1,200. And then you cross that off your list of things you want to accomplish. The more you feed your business, the hungrier it gets. That I know. So as you put more business and you expand, the business needs more cash flow, the operating expense budget goes up. And you have less money if it's not appropriated and prioritized towards these other things.
Yeah, because growth costs money.
Yeah.
It's just the nature of the business, right? So it's interesting because what I'll do with my clients, we'll start really digging into this stuff. And we even build for our estimating and our bidding is like, listen, how many trucks you have? Okay, you got 10 trucks. You got this, okay, that's 40 tires plus the spare. Okay, 50 tires. Those, you want to replace all those at once?
Yeah, insurance.
250 a tire?
Yeah, gas, insurance. Yeah.
So what we started doing was taking a portion of every 3 years, you're going to replace tires on these vehicles. Okay, let's build that into the bid. Okay, so we got a small percentage that's replacement. So in 3 years, you're not going, oh, I got to dig into my profit and take out $3,000. Exactly, right? So now you can and you rotate. You learn also, we all don't change them all at the same time. We rotate them every year. So you can actually build that into when you're thinking this way, like you said, when you're going defining what we have, what we need to do, what's coming down the pike. Okay, you can start to plan for that. And that's when you start to get your real numbers for the work you do. Okay, yes. Now you're accurately bidding and now you have real gross and real net profit margins.
Yeah,
you actually know what those are.
The whole supply chain from start to finish.
Because I think
really think about the money that you're expensing out. And now most people don't even know how to properly charge for their services. That's
exactly
the issue. And once you take them through that exercise, they realize, wow, I am woefully underpriced.
And here's the struggle, Connor. Here's the struggle. So, okay, and I teach value, right? We attach value to money and do the whole thing. We want to work with high-level clients, but everybody else doesn't know either. So what are they doing? They're the low bid guys.
Yeah,
they're coming in under. You're like, and you're trying to go. I'm telling you, I know this sounds crazy, but if you could teach them how to do what you're doing,
Yeah.
At least it's you're against a good competitor because their
Actually, no.
prices will equal yours.
But I'll actually argue against that. Meaning, don't fight against a competitor that will not be there in 2 years.
No,
If you're
yeah,
fighting the low bidder guy, he's going to be out of business in 2 years anyway. So
absolutely.
ignore that and just keep
Yeah,
moving forward with the
I
prices you have.
I'm totally with you, Mike. So my point is, I'm still up here, so I have to walk them through. This is a work. This is a like an exercise
Okay.
because they're afraid of the low guys.
But yeah.
I'm like you're not them. They're going to eat each other. Okay, they're all going to die.
Yeah,
They're going to
they're not going to be
cannibalize each
profitable.
other. Okay, till they're all out of business. That's okay. I said my point is like it's not just charging correctly, but you'll find when you're charging correctly, you're running a better business. And guess who's attracted to you is the higher level clients because they also know this, right? They understand value. Now you start serving them. I've done with my builders, like remodelers. One, for example, when I started with him, he had a $43,000 average kitchen price, right? I mean, 9 months later, $93,000 average kitchen price.
Yeah.
Okay. We don't do $43,000 kitchens. I'm like, that's not us. That's two chucks in a truck, right? That's those guys. That's not who we are. And it's amazing what you can do. You work less, make more kind of thing. So it is that understanding that it's a constant race to the bottom with these people. And I always use this one example. I had a subcontractor at a roofing company, and he's telling me, he's bragging, I want to be the Walmart of roofing. I want to do so many roofs. I'm like, well, his name was Dan. I go, Dan, I got to tell you, when I think of Walmart, I do not think of quality. So if you're telling me you want to be that, you will never set foot on one of my roofs.
Yeah.
Okay, ever. And I was right. You didn't want that man working on your roof.
No, you didn't. Exactly. You
Yeah,
got cheap materials, and yeah, you don't want it.
everything is just done wrong. Who gets a new roof and it leaks? Who wants that?
Not me.
Okay. Like, you'll be dodging bullets. Okay.
Exactly.
How it is. So yeah, but I love it. I think going next step here. So when we define what our, and again, I know we're kind of staying on the business, but I want this to cross over into the personal as well.
Yeah.
And we all get into the business because it's like, ooh, it's mine. I made this and I'm looking at it now and I got other people looking at it and I got an accountant and everything else. Again, and now we flip over to home and you don't do that. You don't do the same principle, right? So talk to me about that because it seems to me very logical to do the same thing when done right. I got to put the caveat in there.
Yeah, it's basically getting the process on your personal side. So I start with the why. Instead of define your business, it's your personal why of your life. Like, what is the most important thing to you and why is that most important? What is it that money's preventing you from doing, feeling? Who else is dependent upon getting this area of your life under control, right? What's going to change the habits and behaviors the way you've been operating with money for the past 35 years of your life, right? It's going to have to, because most people have, intentions and then they fall off. Why do they fall off? It's not their fault. It's that they don't have a big enough reason to stick with it, right? The convenience of swiping a card or not budgeting or telling my money where to go or communicating with my significant other about what's going on, what our priorities are, it's easy to fall back into. So you start there, and then you got to get the B word. You got to get a money plan, right? I said the B word. I don't like the budget word because it makes me think of broccoli. Anyway, you got to get a money plan, right? And it's needs and wants. We've heard all this, right? And we know what to do. It's the habits and behaviors, the accountability and follow through is the missing ingredient. You ask anybody in your audience, how do you become wealthy? They'll rattle off pretty much the same things, right? Spend less than I make, avoid debt, save and invest, give. Yeah, we know this. Why is it not happening for, 80% of Americans out there? Right? Why do 80% of small businesses fail? Why is it that it's, a little bit of knowledge, more so on the business side, but it's the habits and behaviors of what it is that you should be doing. So we just give them the framework of, okay, it's simple. Don't complicate a paper bag, right? I mean, it's a hole and you put stuff in it right? It's a budget. It's what a budget is it's a communication tool. It tells a story. You can use, most people have apps, but that's reactive. It tells you where your money went, or you're looking at the bank statement. You already spent that money. That's not helping you today. So let's get ahead of this, right? Let's look at June. Forget about May. May's a wash. Let's get June. Pull out a calendar. What's going on in your real life? I got college graduation. I got high school. I got communion. I got whatever's going on. Do you have the money set aside for those things in that month? You have your needs. You know what those are: food, shelter, medicine, transportation. Okay. Wants. Prioritize your wants based upon what? What you want. What's important to you, your priorities and principles in life. Family. So I'm married, 2 kids, right? 9 and 11. There's sports. There's education. We got gymnastics, lacrosse, football, basketball, baseball. Okay, that's a lot of money. Summertime, we want camp. We want them to have camping experiences and hiking. That's a lot of money. Do I just put that on a credit card? No, I know in January, come August or July, it's going to cost me $6,000. So guess what I do? I do put intentionally a line item in my budget for camp. And I put $600 a month towards that. And then voila, I have the cash.
Yeah, there's that Parkinson's plan. You got to plan for it. It's got to go somewhere. So I love that you look at the spreadsheet and you've got these 9 different things. And then, you have the quantities you need. Okay, here's how we divide it up. So, here I got $5,000 this week. Okay, here it goes here, and these 9 things. And we're, there we go. We do it again the next time we get money. I like that.
Yeah. The other thing too is people that struggle with this, I tell them on the personal side, treat it like a business. If you were the CFO, would you hire yourself or fire yourself? Number 1. 2, just keep it non-emotional. It's a business meeting, right? Here's the income. Here are the expenses. Oh, I ran out of money. Okay, so that's a flashing red light on your dashboard. If it was a business, you would go through a cash flow triage and say, okay, what can be eliminated? What can be reduced? What can be deferred? Just go down the list. And then it's also a tool for awareness. You start realizing, wow, I didn't know we spent $158 on subscriptions. I didn't know that when I go to, we have a place up here by Dunkin' Donuts, right? I go to Dunkin' Donuts and I get my whatever this $10.58 a day adds up to like $5,000 a year or more. And there's my kid's summer camp, right? It's like the death by 1,000 cuts. So you just align your money to what you want it to do, right? Money is a non-emotional, agnostic thing. It'll do exactly what you tell it to do.
Yeah, I think, on the personal side, you get to that table and we are a very consumer-driven society here in the U.S., right? So these wants turn into needs in people's minds. Okay, so sometimes that discussion at the table about what we're going to cut, it'd be incredible, the things that people want to hold on to. It can be kind of shocking. And I can speak from my own experience too, because you're just like, you can't give that up. So,
for example, so
now I got to save money for therapy. Okay.
Yeah, I don't tell people how to spend their money. They think like a money coach or a business coach tells you, like, it's going to the principal's office. It's not. I don't tell them. Give you a perfect example. I have a gentleman that has a truck, right? A lot of guys in your the blue collar guys out there, HVAC guy, they got the truck, right? This truck, the payment was $800 and something a month. We went through his personal budget. I said, "Oh, does anything kind of stand out to you?" He said, "Yeah, actually, between my mortgage and my car payment, it's 56% of my income." So that's interesting. I didn't say anything. I said, okay, keep that in mind. And then as things that were more important started to go to the wayside, he, upon himself, sent me a text. Yep, trading in the truck, getting an SUV, payment from $800 down to $378 a month. So now you're getting it. He's aligning his money, his cash flow, just like you would in a business, to those things that are most important to him. And that was it. And the significance of this is when I first met him, Richard, the first thing that came out, I ain't touching my truck. We got to figure this out without letting go of the truck. I said, absolutely, man.
Yeah. For dudes, man, the truck is just,
the truck.
It's that thing. I don't know, man. I used to have them too. I had a fleet of trucks. Okay. So like, I like my trucks. Now I do not have a truck. Okay. And I regret it every day because I could use a truck, but I just live without it. But yeah, it's that thing that you get and luckily you wake up. I do this a lot with my clients. One of the first things we do is a cost cutting exercise. Now, like you just said, he just saved $500 a month. Okay. By making that choice, that's $500 a month. Okay. $6,000 a year, like you said, right? Well, I do the same thing. I go in and like, oh, look, and we start, get the statements, start cutting one line by line, look, asking, doing, okay, we get rid, okay, we get, oh, I just saved you $49,000. That's pure profit. Okay. That's pure profit. 50 grand. Okay. You just paid for your coaching. Okay. Yeah. Like I'm free for the next, 12 months. Okay. Like, and then you continue, you continue on that line because I think a lot of times, and this probably better than I do because you're working with people. Like I have people that, they watch their finances, they're frugal or they cut costs, but I think it takes those outside eyes, Connor, to come in and give you that. There's things you're not letting go because you haven't been shown properly.
Well, check this out. So the reason why budgeting sucks and no one wants to do it is because the way in which they approach it, like you're doing it right now, and I do it too, which is like it's like a diet. I'm restricting myself. What's going to get cut? I don't want to cut anything, Rich. But if you look at it as like, instead of what am I saying no to, what is it you're saying yes to, right? What are you saying yes to? You're saying yes to the truck over your kid's camp. Yes, you're saying, if that's okay with you, perfect, right? So what are you saying yes to? And is that ultimately what you want? That's why we start with the end in mind, the North Star. What is your why? How does that align to how is that showing up? Is that getting you closer or further away from your goals? Is that right? How much pain is that causing you? And that's what it goes through, right? So what is it you're saying yes to is a big one. It kind of gives you control of money instead of like, I want to give up these subscriptions. I want to give up this, that.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I give people crap about their gym memberships. I go 5-6 days a week. I go, you got that $10 a month for Planet Fitness because next Monday you're going to start going. But you'll never cancel that because your intentions are to go have a gym and work out. You're renting a treadmill for $10 a month, it's like, or whatever it is, any $60 a month, whatever you're paying, it's because the gym industry, I think it was Bally's that kind of perfected this way back in the day, but they figured out that 80% of the people never use the membership. I mean, you could never park, right? Like if everyone showed up, like I have a Y next door to me, there's 5,000 members. There's 30 parking spots out front.
Well, you mentioned something earlier about Parkinson's law. There's Pareto's rule. You guys can look this up, but it's basically predicated on you will make do with what you have, right? So profit first is a cash flow management system in businesses. You can use the same idea in your personal side, meaning I made $10,000 right off the bat, $1,000 goes to profit. It's a do not touch account. I will somehow magically run the business on the $9,000. I'll figure out a way. It shows up in our life all the time.
All the time.
Or the tube of toothpaste, right? In the beginning, I'm just like, whatever. At the end, I'm squeezing out every bead of toothpaste on the right? College term, or you got a deadline, your taxes, perfect example, right? I got 2 weeks to get this done. You wait until the last 2 seconds and then you just cram it together, but you get it done so that's, I try to approach it like that too. Like what is most important to make it happen? Automate.
I learned this little thing about there's two things. People would say like you can either be cheap or you can be frugal. Okay. And my kids are like, well, what's the difference? I go, well, frugal, you sacrifice for others. Okay. You're not going to spend on this so that you can get your kids to camp. Okay. So you can get it that right. That's cheap is I come and give you a bid on doing some work at the house and you beat me down on the price. Okay. And you want to get me down and get me. Now this guy's going to give me this and you play that game. Not that you don't have the money, because I was first price is my best price. Okay. If you don't take it, I'm out. I had to learn that the hard way. Right. But these people do that. I go, why is that contractor not entitled to feed his family?
When you
Why are you
mentioned that, what
beating him
conjured in
up? You
my
know?
head was frugal is wisdom, approaching
Yes.
pricing with wisdom, and cheap is just ignorance. You
Yeah.
don't know what you should be charging.
It's self-serving. Okay.
Yeah.
So I know what I should be charging, but when you get the people, and I've walked away from plenty of estimates because it's just, I'm like, listen, I'm happy that I can meet that price, but we're going to have to remove this, this, and this.
The
And I'll be
best way
right there at that number.
I tell my clients too is there's price and there's cost. Price is what you pay today. Cost is if you don't address this with the right stuff
Buy cheap,
and the
buy
pain
twice.
and all that other. And the reason why you're calling me now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all that. And it's things that people, these are cool little anecdotes. Like I'm on a job once. We got a little mini excavator, we dig holes, make water features. Hey, Richard, I've got these bushes over here. Could you pop those out for me? You got that machine here, right? While you're here. And I learned decades ago the best return on that. I said, absolutely. Give me 5 minutes. Let me look at it. I'll tell you how much more it's going to be. And they just, no, I thought, well, you understand, it's my time and my guys. We really don't want to focus on what you're paying us to do. So it's spectacular.
Or
and
you
that's
turn
a
around
distraction.
them like, oh yeah, while you are here, do you have any referrals or neighbors you can refer me to?
Yes. Or my progress payment.
Yeah.
Where's my check?
Well, yeah, while you
these
here,
are all fun.
Good point.
We could tell stories all day on that stuff, but it really is I love this attention to money. Because one other thing I always tell, I say, listen, things you don't pay attention to go away. Don't pay attention to your spouse. Don't pay attention to your friends. Don't pay attention to your money. All those things are going away. Eventually,
or
they're
the
just
opposite. You look at it the opposite. That which you focus on grows.
Yes, exactly.
Right. The grass is always green on the other side. Why? That guy's taking care of his lawn. Yep. So yeah, we have all those sayings, but it's the habits and behaviors that back up that intention.
So, but let me ask you on that then, because I think we were talking about like the why and the how, and we talk about habits. Yeah. But are you dropping people into like, here's the habit building program? Like,
no.
So I got to know this because, well, just quit it. Just stop doing it. You got a bad habit, stop it. Start a good habit. Get up at 4 a.m. every day. It's a good habit here, So
there's a lot of books on this, right? So, James Clear has a lot of books about habits and it's called the habit loop. You need a trigger. You need this, but the whole thing starts with, we were talking about the gym before, right? Why is it that 80% of them don't go? The reason why they're going is I want to get out of debt, or I want to lose 10 pounds, right? I want to lose 10 pounds. That's not enough of a reason to stick with getting up and going to the gym every day. But if you're like really thought about it and took it down to the root issues of what it is that you really want, I'll tie this into habits, is, all right, I want to have more energy for my kids. I want to not have diabetes. I don't want to have a heart attack like my uncle and father did. I want to, right? Okay. That is a reason why you're going to actually show up and go to the gym. Habits aren't developed the first week in which you go to the gym. It's over time, and then you get the results from that action that support your why. Like you're feeling better, you're showing up, you have more veracity in life, you're sleeping better, whatever, right? Same thing with money. In the beginning, you got to give yourself permission to fail. It's going to suck, right? Choose your pain. The pain of using the Ostrich technique, not looking at it, and all of a sudden somehow it's going to magically work out. No, that's not going to happen, right? I'll figure it out is not in the personal handbook of finance. So it's get a really good reason why. And then all you need is the tools and resources, which is like, how do I budget?
Right.
How do I communicate with my spouse without having a fight every Wednesday about money? How do I, and you take them through that, and then they start getting the fruits of what that is, and they're intangible. It's peace of mind. It's, wow, I actually have $800 to do whatever I want to do this month. And I can actually tell my money where to go. And I actually have the money without having to go into more debt for my business to buy the thing, right? Once those things start happening, and they look back, they realize like, wow, I just went through a whole month without using debt. Or I just went through a whole month where I feel in control. Like I want to get control of my money. That's not what you want.
Right.
What you really want is the feeling that would bring and what that would enable you to do. I want to get out of debt. That's not what you want. What you want is the things that it's preventing you from doing. You want to get out of the dead end job. You want to be able to hire the next guy for your role to take off one of those 27 hats. So it happens. I coach people for a minimum of 3 months because it's not instant. It's transformational. You transform the way in which they operate with money and the relationship they have with money moving forward. So habits happen over a long period of time. Not a lot. People say like, was it 90 days, 60? You hear a whole bunch of things.
21 days for a habit and all that. Yeah.
It's not a lot.
It depends who you talk to.
It depends on who you talk to, right? But like, if you really think about the span of your life,
what's
how long you've been working and struggling with this stuff, what is 90 days? It's nothing. Boot camp in the military.
13 weeks, baby.
Months.
As Marines, we go the longest. Just saying, we go the longest, so I don't want to hear it from you Navy people.
We are band NC. No, I know.
That's right. It's there's a saying, I don't have it perfect, but I like the thought. This is what I think about. I want to make a goal, like you're talking about, like the why. Well, I want to be able to make a decision to do or not do something. It's never based on money. I don't have to go check my checkbook to see if I can go to Rome for the weekend. Okay, if I want to go to Rome, I'm going to go to Rome. If I don't want to go, I'm not going to go. But it's not because I can or can't due to money. That's like one of my little like lifetime goal things. Can I get there where that's not, I'll say I don't pay attention to my money, but there's things like matter. Like that's a memory trip. We talked about that earlier, right?
Experience.
Like that's something like you tell me I can't go I can't go to Rome for the weekend and eat incredible meals with my wife, see the sights, all that, and buzz back and, back to whatever. I can't do that because I don't have the money. That's terrible.
That's a horrible feeling.
That's a disservice I've done to myself. I am failing as a provider for my family. Okay. It's like
I get that a lot too.
I got to have that.
Yeah. The guilt, shame, remorse around it. Yeah. And it's about what is it that you really want? And then decision. Yes. What am I saying yes to? And what am I saying no to? Sometimes that's forced upon you. And you're like, I don't have the money. That's a gut wrenching thing.
Yeah.
That changes.
Yeah. Because it makes you feel you're inadequate. I'm giving a man's perspective. Okay. I'm just saying like, you're just like, you ever, when you're young, you ever go on that date where you ordered too much?
Yeah.
And you go to get the cash out and you're like 20 short. And you can't even do the tip. Okay. Like you're making that phone call, for the payphone. But like someone's going to hook me up. But like we've all been there, right? And it's a horrible. It's a or the whole time you're wondering what she's going to order. Where should I really take her so we can't go over my minuscule budget because I'm a 20-year-old punk who's worked for like a year in my life and I got nothing. You know what I mean? So and then all of a sudden you're 40 doing the same thing. And that's depressing. Wait a minute.
Everybody can relate.
I could do this when I was 20. I had an excuse. I'm an idiot. But now I'm a 40-year-old idiot. I'm still not. I'm still checking the wallet.
Down. Yeah. And the thing is, that's why I became what I do now, right? Is like, I'm going to let you, Richard, I'm going to let you in on a secret. As a money coach, it doesn't have to do with the money. It's never the money. It isn't. It's never
100% agree with you. Connor, I knew what you were going to say.
It's so funny. It's like, okay, it's the perspectives, the things, it's the alignment of the goals. It's all that stuff. It's not the lack of ambition of wanting it. It's, okay, I need a framework and a trusted guide that sit me down and teach me this stuff and hold me accountable to doing it. And don't let me lose focus because life happens. People get busy. Emergency, yeah, we get that, but don't lose sight of your North Star, what that is.
Yeah, you're talking to a business coach. You're a money coach. We got coaches out the yin yang now. Okay, 30 years ago, no internet, no coaches. Okay, it's strange how that works. Okay, but it was like I couldn't go to anyone. I had some people you could talk to, but it wasn't like unless you were a high level C-suite guy with this elite performance coach paying $1 gazillion to, you weren't getting a coach. I mean, that's why this time today, like where we're at. This is amazing.
Oh,
You and I are talking about this stuff, sharing this with who knows how many people, right?
yeah.
And like you didn't have this 1980, 1990, right? So you couldn't, so you're going to stay dumb because you can't get the help, or you got to really do the research. You got to dive in all this book stuff that you lose interest on the first page, right? Because no one's making it practical. No one's applying it. Like you're given practical, applicable, insights and information that people can do. And like you said, in 90 days, you start seeing these results. It's all about results. I'm like, that's my thing. I'm a results coach. You start showing people results, and we'll go back to fitness, right? People will say, oh, I've been working out 2 weeks. No one sees it. You don't see it. You don't feel it, right? A month, you're like, I think I lost 3 pounds. Well, that's one piece of luggage off the Queen Mary. Keep going, So you keep going, but it takes a minimum of 12 to 14, 16 weeks before anybody else notices. Then all of a sudden you start getting the compliments. Dude, you trimming out? Yeah. Oh, man, you're looking good, man. All of a sudden you start getting the fist bumps at the gym because now you're there at the same time every day. You become part of a new group, right? It's a new habit. People are recognizing you. I do it every day, right? And see that. And all of a sudden the change takes time. But once you get there, there you go.
And you will never go back to the way you were.
Because people will continue to encourage you. People love this. I'm call us gym rats. Yeah, like I see everything. Okay, I'm hitting the bag. I'm boxing. I'm doing battle ropes today. 300 squats. I see everybody. I know what you do. Oh, going for a walk again, huh? Okay, you ever going to change? No, I don't say that. You know what I mean? But they're there. They're consistent. They win. I talked to a guy this morning, Connor. He's like 75, 76. And we're talking Vietnam, 2 tours in Vietnam, the whole thing, right? We're talking about this stuff. And he's like, yep, it's anniversary today. What did one guy say? Well, oh, from when you went to Nam, whatever. And he goes, no, I go married, right? He goes, yeah. I go, dude, 55 years of marriage. That's awesome. We got talking. I said, he tells me, I worked on the house, worked outside for like 8 hours. I was beating a day. And I thought there's no way I'm coming in the next day to work out. And he goes, and I'm here. And I go, that's because you come here every day. And you move and you work out and you're 75, and you can still do that stuff. That's consistency. That's a long game. And I've seen guys in gyms that have been going for 30 years. Like they're there 5 days a week.
It's almost like the intensity. That's a habit. Consistency is another way of saying habit, right? But like that, how fast you get the results is the intensity of how fast you want to get out of it or change. I know people that have completely transformed their bodies in 90 days.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And there's a really good reason why. Right. You find out you have type 2 diabetes and your cardiac, you're going to change your diet, everything around you really quick.
Yeah.
Or you do it slow.
Yeah. I go, I have a motivator. Like mine isn't to go like to work out or lose weight. That's all byproduct. Like, so again, I hit 8 rounds on the heavy bag. I go to kind of kill myself. I love the complete exhaustion I get in the morning. I leave it all on the floor. Okay. I mean, it's there. And to me, it's a way to energize myself for the day. I come on, I wreck it. Right. But then my day is amazing. Right. And I feel good. And you go back and I keep my skills sharp. I can still handle people.
So what I'm hearing is the results.
Yeah, exactly.
The results of the action. And that's why you tied those two things. And that's why you keep going with it.
Yep.
That shows up in all these different aspects of your life.
That's it. And kind of so you want like the why? Here it is. I want to stay dangerous. That truly is my why. I have that, and I'm working out for 2. I tell people I'm working out. I'll probably the women eat for 2. Well, I'm working out for 2. So my belief is if something's going down, can I carry my wife down flights of stairs, up flights of stairs, a half mile down the road? Well, can I do that with having a grabber? Okay. Can I do that with my kids? So I'm not just taking care of myself. So that's another motivator for me. And that it falls under my stay dangerous blanket too.
Who else is affected by this change?
That's right. Yeah. And you're exactly right. I'm glad you brought this up because that is how I define it. It's not about how many reps and this and that. That's just my little scorecard. I do everything by time. I'm a little weird. Everything, there's timers going. I'm going. I rest this. I do it. So, but it just gives you a focus. And I love I need to apply that same thing to money.
Yeah.
I don't do it well enough.
If you think about the areas of your life, right? You got relationships, you got health, you have spirituality, you have money's one of those columns.
I call the 5 F's.
Okay.
Faith, family, finances, fitness, and friendships.
Yep.
Those are the 5 things. Okay.
And where are those showing up in your life, and what are you doing? Right. And are you prioritizing it? Is it?
What are you paying attention to? Yep, exactly. So,
and that's
so good.
And a lot of people don't have that within themselves to do that. Right. So that's why we're guides to help them.
Yeah. I think it's important, Connor, is just like you said, so many people, they're embarrassed.
Yeah.
Okay. Because they're like, they can't manage money. They
don't. I'm not a
numbers
person. Yeah. I've heard that.
Yeah. No, they just don't have it's a relationship. Life is relationships. A relationship is money, I have 6 kids, okay? And they're all working, they're all making money. One's in the Marine Corps. These guys they're doing their thing, right? And some are really good with their money. Some are not really good with their money. Some work really, really hard and they're not good with their money. That's the most frustrating thing for me.
Yeah.
How can you, and he's good with it. I have a just turned 18-year-old.
Yeah.
Hardest working guy you ever meet. Loves to work. Been working since he was 9, like making money. The kid just loves it. Well, from 16 to 18, okay, this kid made $90,000, okay, and doesn't have any money. He's got 15 grand worth of tools. He bought you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I get the work thing, but I'm also like, I got his permission to throw him under the bus because he needs to be, okay. But I'm like, dude, like I would have killed for $900 by the time I was 18.
Would you? Yeah, but would you have rather learned that lesson at 18 or 58?
Yeah, exactly. No, you're absolutely right.
So there's guilt, shame, remorse, and all that other stuff. But it's like,
I keep reminding him, and he's getting better. But I'm like, dude, you're a little slow on the uptake, man. I mean, you're a Walsh. I mean, I know I was too, but you don't need to follow in those footsteps. I need to accelerate this process.
Yeah, I say smart people learn from their mistakes. Really smart people learn from other people's mistakes.
Yeah, exactly. I'm trying.
And like the people that are listening out there, you're not alone. I mean, I meet with hundreds of people, and sad to say, the state of affairs out there is basically almost the same. It always comes down to 5 different things. And it's just, what one do we have to pick up and move and
let me ask you this, Connor. Let me ask you. So, and I'm not an excuse guy. I'm really anti-excuse, but I see a system that's built for them to fail. Okay.
Well,
we'll call it rigged. Okay. Because if you're not teaching it, why? So we don't learn about this stuff. And I'm talking in general about the public school system, and you're being brought up in this stuff. We used to have home ec, and you learn how to cook and do this stuff and whatever. Yeah. Like they don't even do that stuff anymore. Right. So they're taking all your literal skill levels down. Okay. And you kind of go out into the world. And you said it earlier about now you just swipe a card. I mean, there is something to handing cash to someone. It's tactile. It's like, man, it's leaving. It's shrinking. I have none left. I got 25.
Same reason why they use poker chips in a casino. If you had to lay down $100 bill every time, you would be like 3 hands, I'm out of here. If I'm sprinkling chips, no big deal. I'm separating you from that tangible thing. The one-click purchase, Amazon, genius.
Yep.
Right? Apple Pay, genius. I get it. Right? There's a whole room of people that are calculating human behavior and everything. And back to what you're saying, I thought about this a lot. And I truly think it's kind of like politics, where they don't want to have a well-informed, engaged populace. Because if you knew this stuff, guess what? You wouldn't be dependent upon anything but yourself.
Yes. So it's guilt by omission.
Yeah,
right. They we just won't teach it. That's up to them. Yeah. That's too personal. That's their money. They use that, right?
Yeah.
But they're happy to give you or whatever. I'm not even going to go down that road.
No, I know we're not going to go down that
They're
road.
teaching you like, I don't even want to, it's like, but you're right. And I see this and I go, well, and I'm not blaming that. I'm looking like, well, my folks weren't very good with money. We didn't have a lot, right? But even what we had, we see it, but guess what? We lived. My dad kept us in the house. He worked 3 jobs. He did all the things, right? But just like with my kids, as we get to them early, like one of my other son's 19, his goal is to be financially free by 24 years old.
Love it.
He's on the road. Like he's known that since he was little. Like, this is what I'm going to do. And he's just out doing it.
Fire.
He doesn't talk about it. He's just like, I'm doing it. I'm like, what's great about that, Connor? Man, financially free by 24 is kind of easy because you got nothing.
Compounding of interest, yeah.
But you got nothing. Okay, you haven't built up debt. It's like, wow, I got to come up with like $1,800 a month passively to be financially free. This is good. And then you just keep building on that, right? As you kind of grow and stuff. So I show that to him like, dude, if I only would have known.
Yeah. I mean, there's people, if you don't do it, then what happens is life happens fast, right? You graduate, engage, 2 kids, summer camp, childcare, diapers, 2 truck payments, credit cards. Oh my God. Right? It gets overwhelming, stressed, intimidating. Like you said, it's all this internal feelings. And it's like, okay, moving forward, what do you want to do? Right? You can use the windshield or the rearview mirror. You can try to untie that fisherman's knot or just cut the line and cast a new line. Right? And that's what I try to provide for people out there where they're working hard. Right? They're trying to keep the spear sharp. Right? And
I love that you're taking like, and I may be misdefining this, but basically what you're doing, like you're basically like, listen, there's no judgment here.
No.
Like, dude, we're here to fix it. Like I tell people, they say like, well, listen, I'm just here to fix the problem. I didn't create it.
Yeah.
But let's fix it and get on with it. Who cares how or why it happens? Let's fix it. I do with businesses. Yeah, it's a hot mess. Wait till you see what it's going to look like in 12 months. It's going to be amazing. Right? Like, I'm going to fix it. Let's get busy.
Yeah,
like, I don't care. I don't care why. Let's go. Let's focus on the outcome.
I don't take on anybody as a client either. I have to hear their why. And if it's significant enough to me, I become their biggest cheerleader. I say, okay, I will stand behind you. That's why my logo is like a little mountain here, right?
Yeah.
We're going to climb this mountain together. And I will be behind you every single step of the way. When you give up, I give up. I'm not here because there's someone standing right behind you that wants it just as bad, if not more than you do. And they're willing to do what it takes to do what, right? And this is not, I don't sugarcoat it. This is not something that's like, okay, I'm read a book and voila. Nope. You have like 30 years of habits of the way in which you operate with money, business and personal, that are not serving you. When I say serving you, it's what you truly want. It's not about me. It's judgment free. I do not judge, right? That guy with the $800 car payment or truck payment out there, I didn't judge that guy.
Right.
I just brought it to his attention, awareness.
Right.
Like, okay.
Yeah.
And then that's it. It's awesome.
I love it. And the mountain climbing analogy, I kind of short rope mine. It's called short roping.
Okay.
Like when you're not doing your thing, I shorten that rope, man. You're going to keep up with me. You're getting to the top. Okay, we're going. So I'll short rope you. But it is, I love that and I'm like this too. And I think the good coaches we interview our client as much as they're interviewing us.
Yeah.
Because I can't work with everybody. Like you said, if that real desire isn't there, I had a guy, well, can't you just give me the program and I'll just do that? Why do I got to do something? I'm like, well, no, I can't. I won't. Because you won't do it.
Also, like if I have to convince you to do coaching,
right.
I got to drag you through that whole process. That's not good for me, and it's not good for you. And it's like I don't sell coaching. It's funny. Like I have this thing. I have this thing called 48 hours. Like you are not going to make a decision today. You're not. I'm not going to allow it because you have a problem with impulse purchases.
Amen.
You got to think about this. And get back to me and give me 1 or 2 reasons really why you're going to do this. And that's it. And that's what gets results with them. And that's what I'm all about.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, that's well, there's a good word for that. It's called integrity. Okay, you've got integrity because it's like you and I'm about results. You're about results. If we take that approach, we have that integrity, we have that weight. You're going to be like 100% results achiever because the people they're locked in. It's not a maybe. It's not a toe in the water stuff. We don't play that, right? We know where that goes. It goes nowhere. And then in a selfish sense, and I'll speak for myself, you not getting your results really makes me look bad. Okay, because you quit. You're making me look bad. I don't. Nope. We don't
also,
do that.
I tell them up front, it's a a journey, not a destination. A destination. It's not like running a business. It's a total journey.
Right.
You start with an idea, you get and you learn as you go along, and then you ultimately end up where you ultimately want what success looks like. Right. There's a lot of struggles in between that. Same thing with personal finance, whatever it is, but you're going to learn, and all the coach does is you get you faster results, less pain, and keeps you accountable and follow through what you need to do. And the tools and resources you don't even know to ask for.
Yeah, my big thing is time compression. I put 10 years into one because I got 35 years of screwing things up. Okay. I've learned from all this stuff, done some great stuff, a lot of great stuff along the way too, but I'm a wealth of this knowledge and experience, and I've been able to develop things to shrink that time to save you the costly mistakes and bad decisions and all that kind of stuff, just like you. So, Connor, this has been awesome. How do people get in touch with you? How do they follow you, do whatever?
The best way to get in touch with me is my website. So it's Progress, www. Progress. You want to make some progress. FC is in financial coaching. ProgressFC.com. All the information's on there. There's tools and resources that are free for your audience. They can just download them. One of them is how to price your services, which is great. And listen, my guiding principle in life is to be of service of others. That's it. And if I do that, everything else will show up roses. So there's someone out there listening to this and saying, you know what? Yep, I've heard it enough. It's time to do something. Reach out. We just have a conversation. See if you're ready for it. And if you are, awesome.
You'll wait 48 hours and then we'll talk again. Right?
Yeah. Right? Or whenever you're ready. Whenever you're ready, you'll come back.
It's all, I love it. I love it. I mean, that's what it is, right? That's what this is all about. And I think this whole time together, Connor, has been so good because this is one of those, again, emotional subjects people like to talk about. They don't want to talk about it, but hearing some real world insight here from you, just your whole mission and what you're doing for people is so good. It's just, and I'm speaking for myself, obviously, but you've lowered a lot of barriers, if you will, like a lot of blocks. That's important. So we can see we're not climbing, 50-foot walls.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
Let's not complicate a paper bag.
Exactly.
Got a hole, you put stuff in it, bro. That's it.
Let's
this is what you want. This is what we get.
Well, that is awesome. So take that home, everybody. Reach out to Connor. Get your finances squared away. And I know we all think you got them, but we all know you don't. And come on, let's get them. Let's make them even better. You can always improve.
Absolutely.
And we'll leave it at that. So Connor, thank you again, and everybody else. We will see you on the next STS podcast. And don't forget, revenue feeds the ego, profit feeds the family. So if you want to see how I can show you at least $100,000 in hidden annual profits in less than 3 minutes, and not only show you where, but how to create that 100K in 6 months or less without additional advertising or marketing spend, guaranteed, just go to sharpenthespiritcoaching.com. See how truly simple it is. That's sharpenthespiritcoaching.com. Do it now.